Welcome back to another FlipBros video. Borderlands 4 is coming next week, and I gotta figure out what build I'm playing. So come join me as we theorycraft a build for Vex, because Vex is the character I'm going to be playing first next week. Now, before I get into the build, as I go through it, if you guys hear something or see something that you think we can improve on this, drop a comment, tell me how we're going to make it better, because I'm going to be putting that feedback directly into the build. Here's what I'm thinking for this build. I want to focus on this passive called Mortal Terror. Chance to trigger kill skills when critically hitting enemies, and I believe at 5 out of 5, this is going to get a 5% chance to trigger kill skills when you crit. I plan on landing crits consistently. So what am I thinking that we're going to pair up with this? So obviously we want to get some kill skills. Let's look at the capstone for this tree, Vibe Check. Eldritch Blast is now a charged skill with, I assume, is 3 charges. Activating Eldritch Blast consumes all charges to ricochet on hitting an enemy for each charge consumed, and Eldritch Blast's cooldown reduction from gun damage is doubled. So if I'm critting constantly just by aiming, and we're gonna get double cooldown from gun damage, I mean, I'm hoping to have this Eldritch Blast just pinballing, like call me pinball machine. All right, so let's go into the tree. So starting off with Leeching Attunement. So it's an attune skill. While Vex is attuned to kinetic, she gains increased lifesteal and reload speed. So again, if we're critting constantly, reload speed is going to allow us to crit more because we get more bullets to shoot, and lifesteal lets us live longer. But really, we're going to be pairing the kinetic attunement with Bloodletter. Gun and skill critical hits have a chance to apply bleed. So like I said, we're going to be trying to crit all the time, causing kinetic status effect damage over time. So again, if we're trying to crit consistently and we can apply bleed consistently, 20 stacks of bleed, I think we're going to do, especially on bosses, I feel like that's going to be really strong. All right, so going from there, I would be going into target persist. Oh my god, I can't even
Prescience.
We're going to be going into target prescience. Vex's gun damage gains critical hit chance against any part of the enemy, and I think at 5 out of 5 you're going to get 15% to crit no matter where you hit. So this is just a failsafe. I mean, if you are a good FPS player and you're confident in landing crits, but let's just say you miss, you get a 15% chance to still trigger everything that's going on, or well, I guess a 15% chance to land the crit, which then has a 5% chance to trigger, so much lower. But again, you're shooting tons of bullets. It's Borderlands, right? You know, guns that have multiple projectiles is, I assume, going to hit more often and crit more often too. Next, we got Keen Mine over Drink Full. Keen Mine is Vex's skill damage gains crit chance against any parts of enemies. So now we have this Eldritch Blast that is ricocheting, and I assume each time it ricochets, it's going to have a 10% hit chance to also trigger everything that's going on. Witchy Trigger Finger, which is an augment for your action skill. Dealing damage with Eldritch Blast or Phase Explosion will reload your current gun and gain a stack of Witchy Trigger Finger, increasing gun damage for the duration. I mean, if you have a ricocheting Eldritch Blast that gets cooldown from gun damage, and you're trying to crit consistently, and that's going to ricochet and hit more people, and that's going to give you more stacks, which increases gun damage and reloads your current gun every time it deals damage, are you just going to be able to shoot forever in groups of enemies? That's the hope. And that leads us to Mortal Terror, which we were talked about. And at the very end here, I was picking up Strike Me Down kind of as more of a defensive passive. Whenever Vex would enter Fight for Your Life, she immediately gets a second wind, becomes invisible for a duration, and causes a phase explosion. So it does have a 2-minute cooldown, but every 2 minutes you get a get out of jail free card. If I were to count out the skill points, that's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 26. 26 out of 49 skill points gets you those skills already. So we got some extra skill points to go left over. Let's see what else I was going into. All right, so I put max points into Grave Power. This is a passive where Vex's kill skills are going to gain increased max stacks. So your kill skills can have 3 more stacks. And again, we're trying to consistently trigger kill skills by crits. This seems like a good choice. The next skill I was looking into is Grave Vitality. It's a kill skill, so Vex gains increased max health capacity and health regeneration. Another defensive passive, but if we're trying to trigger kill skills consistently, that's hopefully going to keep us alive often. A Deeper Grave. Vex's kill skills gain increased duration. Again, keep our kill skills up as high as possible. And the other skill that I ended up maxing out was Fiendish Invigoration. So when Vex uses a rep kit, she gains increased movement speed and fire rate. This is a selfish skill because I don't think we have a minion in this tree, and really this is just a personal choice. I think if you don't care about movement speed, like I'm going to be using rep kits not for healing, I'm going to be using rep kits for movement speed. And so if you don't care about that, I think you pass on this and you put your 5 points from here into You could use conjunction for gun damage and damage reduction. You could put more points into one of the kill skills like Grave Sights, where you gain critical hit damage. Grave Implements, you gain increased gun damage. You could also put more points into Essence Leech. But for me, I really like the movement speed, so I put 5 points into Invigoration here. And that also means I'm going to put 1 point into Guns and Needles. Restore rep kit cooldown every time you get a kill skill. So again, triggering kill skills, trigger rep kit cooldown, more rep kits, more movement speed. That is the hope. All right, we got a couple extra points left. Right now, my thought process is like, let me just get kill skills. Let me just make Vex a little better. So I put 1 point into Grave Sights just for a little bit of critical hit damage. This is going to be 6% critical hit damage at max stats. Put 1 point into Grave Implements. So Vex is going to gain gun damage. Again, this is going to be 9% at max stacks. Put 1 point into Drink Full. Whenever Vex deals gun damage, she gains a stack of Drink Full, increasing fire rate. And I put 1 point into Essence Leech. So Vex gains lifesteal. Doubles the effect when an action skill is active, so she'll have 2% more lifesteal. 4% when Eldritch Blast is going off, or Incarnate is going off. And that left me with 1 skill point, and so I just put it into material components. Vex gains increased kinetic damage and kinetic status effect damage, so this will increase the bleed just and your kinetic damage overall. So again, the recap, the build is really built around critting. Critting can trigger your kill skills, and that's just critically hitting. And I'm hoping that critically hitting counts when you shoot someone and you get a crit from this passive where gun damage gains critical hit chance against any parts of enemies, and Keen Mind passive where Vex's skill damage gains crit chance. I'm hoping that all 3 of those count as critically hitting enemies to trigger skills, to trigger kill skills. All right, so let's talk about where you can probably change things up, I think. So again, if you didn't want Fiendish Invigoration, you could take some points out of here. You could put them in other places. You could also put them in Grave Sustenance. So this is going to, along with the cooldown for gun damage, triggering this kill skill will also restore a percentage of missing action skill duration. So that will keep your action skill up longer. I originally read that as cooldown. I don't think that's actually what that is. I think that keeps your skill up longer. Maybe isn't as good as I originally thought. There is this enchantment passive, gains bonus kinetic damage. There's Hasty Fiends, where you can just get movement speed, but I don't think that's worth it. In the Dead Ringer skill tree, we have Sanguine Fiends, so Vex will regenerate health over time. Defensive passive, there's just Cold Iron for pure gun damage. There's Fell Inscriptions for pure max health. There's Grave Assault if you were to take away 6 points from the other tree, you can get more fire rate. And here's an interesting one. There's one called Cursed Blade on Dead Ringer. Vex's melee attack applies Curse, making them take kinetic status effect damage anytime they take gun damage. That might be interesting. That's also going to require a fairly hefty investment of 6 points to get here. And there you have it. There's the Incarnate theory crafting build that I'm going to be starting out with. Really focus around guns, critting, sending out Eldritch Blast as the pinball, and seeing if you can just mob away. You guys got any changes you would like to make on this build, or just Theorycraft in the comments? All of that's appreciated. I'll be reading every single comment to see if we can make this build better. If you guys like these videos, please like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next theory crafting video. Take care.